West Cork Beard Company make beard oil and beard balm for a strong, healthy, great-looking beard. Handmade from all natural ingredients in Clonakilty, West Cork. Check out their YouTube channel for beard care tips and advice, or catch them online at westcorkbeardcompany.ie.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast. I hope you are all well. So many of you here already. Hello to everyone who's joined us this evening. And of course, thank you very much if you're watching this on replay. And if you're listening to this on audio, thank you very much indeed. Now, as you can see, there's one missing. Judges is missing. He is... what's the word? What can we say?
Late.
Engaged.
Yeah.
Engaged.
Yeah, engaged. Engaged, yeah. I think, is not engaged to be married, but engaged, otherwise engaged. He'll be along as soon as he can get here. Joining me this evening, Mr. Albert. How are you, sir?
Not bad. I appreciate the call up, Craig, mate. I love the podcast. So
you haven't let me down yet, mate. You ain't let me down yet.
No, super sub, mate.
You're like my Nicholas Bentner.
Yeah, people don't mistake me. It's not Michael Thomas sitting there, mate. It's definitely Albert.
And of course, a man who needs no introduction, Mr. Potts. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Cheers, boys. It's good to be on time. I like being on time. Out of all of the panelists, I'd like to think that I'm reliable with time. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for Mr. Lee Judges again tonight. It's becoming a little bit common, this, Craig, isn't it? We're waiting on Judges all the time here.
Well, look, he's got other things to do, and he's a busy man.
He is.
He's a very busy man. As you can see, scrolling along the bottom of the screen, if you would like to join and become a member, then please do. The link is down below in the description, or there's a little box just underneath where it says subscribe. I think if you're watching us live, hit that, and you can become a member and help me. Thank you very much indeed. People say don't beg. I'm begging. You can help me. Craig, love your haircut. Thanks very much. I said, I've had a good run of it. I'm 41 years old, and I've been trying to chase the baldness away, but it's not going away. So I said, I'm just going to embrace being a bald man. So there you are. I'm now a bald man. But I didn't actually realise how short it was going to be. I didn't really realise how short a number one was.
Suits you, Craig. Suits you, mate.
Thanks very much. There's a few people in there saying that. Keep your head up, Craig. There's the shine is the light is blinding, shining off the top of my head. Thanks very much, Simon. Pid says it suits you. I look fresher and younger.
There you go.
Thank you very much. I don't know whether I should take that as a compliment or
you should.
Did you manscape?
yeah. I've used my manscape.
Did you manscape as well? I like that.
On the wrong bit of. I'm not supposed to use it on this kind of on that part of my body, am I? I don't think. Danny, hello, mate. Scotty boy. We don't care. There we go. Thank you very much, Danny. Indeed. I suppose we better get on with it. People will be wondering what's going on. A 1-1 draw at Burnley, lads. We saw some calamitous defending again. Dan, I'll start with you. What is it with us and our concentration at the start of games? Well, it's not even at the start of a game, is it? I mean, we were 1-0 up and flying.
Nah.
And then, of course, Mr. Granite Xhaka. I mean, what a mistake. What was he thinking?
I don't know what he was thinking, Craig, but I never have done for 5 years. And I've been calling out this guy and I've received enough abuse for it. But this is exactly why we are not going to go forward with people like him in the side. And it doesn't matter whether your name's David Luiz, Bellerin, Holding, Cedric, El Neni, Chaka, Leno. They've all made mistakes individually. So there's concentration problems with this team 100%, but they're also error prone. It's unbelievable. You know, 1 week it's Bellerin and Holding who can't mark Sterling in the box. The next week it's Cedric passing the ball back to Gabriel wrong for Villa to score. Now we've seen Xhaka do it. David Luiz is a calamity against Wolves, and he has done previously against Man City, Liverpool, penalties given away, red cards given away. But the most red cards, Xhaka's got the most errors now in the Premier League since he signed for the club. And apparently the guy behind him is Cedric, and he's now at Arsenal. So most of those must have come at Southampton. So we have got error-prone players, and I don't know if it's lax in concentration. I don't know if it's just lack of ability, lack of intelligence, or a bit of all three. But nobody can blame Leno for that, in my opinion, because one, the Arteta wants them to do that. That's the first thing. And two, come on, it wasn't exactly a bad pass to Xhaka, was it? Come on, it wasn't like Leno had put him in trouble. He had all the time in the world, but he hasn't got a right foot. So he tries to ping it across to David Luiz when all he has to do is either go, actually, Leno, do you know what? I don't want that. Just clear it up the line. So you pass it back to your keeper. Or what you do is you try, if you can, to use a little bit of technique to not go across your damn goal, which you're told in Sunday League football. So
that's schoolboy stuff, mate.
It is schoolboy, mate. For Chris Wood to sit there and just kind of let it hit him and go in, even he was amazed. He was like, I'll take it, but I don't really know how he's just let me score that.
I did like his little bit of shithousery, you know, when he's like pointing at the camera going, like, you know, pointing at the camera like that as if he's just banged one in from 40 yards or something.
Like a 40-yard screamer, yeah. Top bins. But listen, you can't excuse this anymore, man. This is the problem with this football club. We have accepted mediocre players, and he is one of them that everybody keeps telling me we need. Now, I do not want to see this guy in an Arsenal shirt much longer going into next season, and these are the reasons why. Because for every 10 games that he has that are okay, Craig, he has one like that, and we were all waiting for it. And Harry on this podcast is amount of times, oh, Dan's going to look silly. Xhaka played well again. Well, guess what happened? I was waiting for a day like this because I knew it was going to happen, and it will happen again. And it's not about I'm right and people are wrong. It's about I've been frustrated, and now I hope people can see why I am, because this is the sort of mistakes that we want to clear out of this club. And with people like Xhaka, we ain't going to have it. It's going to continue, Craig.
Albert, I mean, it's clear for all to see the mistake that Xhaka made, and I think it's clear for all to see now that obviously a player like Granit Xhaka is not what we need if our aspirations are higher than, you know, or if our aspirations are to get into the top four next season. You know, he's made massive mistake. But on the flip side of it, Albert, who else is there? This is the problem, you see. Who else, you know, who comes in? He obviously doesn't fancy any of the other midfielders because he let them all go. He's either sold them or let them go on loan. So what do we do with Granit Xhaka? I mean, look, the mistake is unforgivable, you know, and Dan is right. There's been a lot of frustrating times. But on the flip side, what is Arteta to do, really? Because that's all he's got.
That's the thing. Like, with the Granit Xhaka thing, right? Whenever I've spoken about him, even before YouTube days, to be honest, I've always kept it football, man. I don't, you know, people want to do the personal stuff. That's up to them. But when he does what he does, Craig, Dan, I don't get surprised when he plays well for a few games. I'm not going to break out the bunting or bring out, you know, eat some cake or whatever. But I just because I'm used to seeing what I've seen for the 5 years that he's been here. And the thing is, this is what I kind of find frustrating, because you've got people that want to sort of, I say sections that want to tell you that he's the captain of Switzerland. He's played a certain amount of minutes in February, coming into March. And I'm like, well, what's the, you know, what is the competition he has, you know, when it comes to the midfield in the team? I mean, Arteta's bombed out Guendouzi and Torreira on loan. All of a sudden, Xhaka's fantastic because he's got Partey next to him. But if you put anybody next to Partey, they're going to play fantastic anyway because he's a quality player. But the thing with the Xhaka thing is he's 28 years of old, guys, right? He's a international footballer. even after that stat you talk about, the 8 mistakes that led to goals, after the second time it happened, he should have had a word with himself to say, you know what? I need to have an epiphany moment, because if I keep doing this, the manager's going to take me out of the team. I need to be better. But he's gone on to make 6 more mistakes. If he's still making them mistakes at 28 years of age, he's not learned back then, so he's not going to learn now. So when you see the mistakes that he does, it's not a surprise anymore. And you know what I did? I made a conscious thing of looking at that goal again that we conceded against Burnley. That goal doesn't happen, the one we conceded, if he plays the ball first time.
But it also doesn't, you know, I mean, I can see why people are bringing in, I can see why people might blame Leno for that, because, like, although I don't blame him, I can see why people would blame him. I mean, as a goalkeeper, I played as a goalkeeper. Like, Leno's just got to put his foot through that and get rid of it, whether it goes out for a throw, whether it goes. And I know Danny's right in saying that this is how Arteta wants to play, but when you're on that pitch, sometimes you've got to take the law into your own hands. I think Leno should have just ravaged, hoofed it up the pitch.
Yeah, Craig, I'll take that point. You know what? But I'll be honest, I watched it again. At the time, I kind of said that I don't think Leno done him any favors. But then I thought, you know what? Let me just watch it back. Let me just double check to make sure that I'm not talking out of my backside. And I watched it again. And I said, you know what? That goal does not happen if Xhaka plays that ball first time. I'm telling you, we've probably seen it a million times. Trust me, watch it again. If he plays that ball first time with his right foot, that goal doesn't happen. But it's again, because he's so one-footed. That's why the mistake happened. And you know what? It actually affected his performance for the rest of the game. I don't know what you guys thought. I thought
no, he did.
He was rocking. I thought he should have been taken off. I don't
absolutely.
I think we played well. Yeah, sorry, Craig. I thought we played well.
Go on, mate. Sorry,
mate. Sorry. I think in terms of our performance, mate, I think we played well for 37.5 minutes out of the 90. And even that was still good enough to win that game. You had some good chances to bury that game, even not playing well. So, 2 points dropped, mate. And I don't want to ask you guys, Craig, like in terms of Arteta substitutions, not just the game against Burnley, but I mean, I think the only one that sort of I might have picked a little bit of bones out of was the fact that when he took off Odegaard and brought on Lacazette, because I thought to myself, well, how's he going to set the team up now? Because it doesn't work with Lacazette in that withdrawing role. It doesn't. It's tried and tested. It doesn't work. So I don't know what you guys might have thought of that, to be honest, the substitutions again.
Well, I thought the substitutions were poor again. There was I mean, we spoke about it in the morning, didn't we, on Saturday morning? And when I saw Willian starting and Saka, I was kind of okay with it, because Willian put in a man of match of the performance the week before, and I'm a great believer in that you're only as good as your last game.
Yeah.
So Saka comes in for sure on the right hand side, and Pepe had to be dropped. But as the game was going on, you're actually saying to yourself, why is Willian on the pitch? Why? What's he doing? Some people were telling me he had a good game. I'm not too sure.
I don't think there's many players that had a good game on Saturday.
No, I'm not too sure about that. If we're serious about the Europa League, Pepe and Saka have got to start in the Europa League against Olympiacos. There's no doubt about that. Judges, how are you, sir?
I'm all good, thank you very much. All good. Got over the weekend of really getting on my nerve, like the performance, everything about it. And then I've not a very good Sunday evening either. But looking forward to a new week. Just like, I don't know, things that happened on Saturday. Just everything about that game just sums up Arsenal to a T at this moment in time. Everything about it, First and foremost, going to have to say, I don't know, obviously you guys must have touched on it, should have won the game through our own doings. You know what I mean? We should have took our chances. That's first and foremost. We have not been ruthless enough up front for a very, very long while, missing chances. We then make the mistake that we did, which someone said to me, you won't see a mistake like that. And then on Match of Day, I think they showed about 6 or 7 of them, didn't they? You know what I mean? So we ain't the answer, but it just typifies Arsenal at this moment in time. It doesn't matter who it is, we've got a mistake in us. Every single one of those players, whether it be a player going up front and scoring goals, or like you can look at the misses that we made. Players will miss chances. Saka missed an absolute gilt-edged chance from 2 yards. Come on, I think he's a great player, but like you expect him to score that. I thought Partey was poor with his shot, which went over the bar. A lot of people sort of missed that one. That was a good move. We played some good stuff in the first half, and that's the frustrating thing is. And I think even Sean Dyche come up and said, he'd have been happy if we'd have gone in at 1-0 down. He would have been that happy, you know what I mean? And then we go and gift wrap him a goal. Yeah. Which is unbelievable. And then I'm going to say it now, and I don't care what anybody says. You can make up excuses and whatever. If VAR does its job, which it should do, we end up winning the game.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. It's a fact, And then I sit there and they're trying to justify their mistake by my, instead of just coming out and saying I've made a mistake. Yes, the handball and sending off, not a problem with that. They got it right, but they certainly didn't get the one on our favour right. Did they? Isn't it funny how they get every decision right when it's against us? You know what I mean? Like when it's for us, well, they can get them wrong, but when it's the other way round, they get them dead spot on right. And I've had enough of it now. In
what football match is that not handball?
I've never, in the current rules, it's handball. Like, end of.
Look at it. I mean, his arm is out. He's stopping the ball from moving on to Pepe because Pepe's going around him. His arm is out. It's a unnatural position. I don't care what anyone says. That is an unnatural position for a defender. How, in God's name, is that not handball?
Right, you've got to look at defenders now. They're going out to games and putting their arms behind their back.
Yeah,
making the point. He's got it out here, what I mean. It's handball. I don't care what anybody says. It's handball, but it doesn't get given. I go back to the David Luiz one. Yes, you can say it's sent off. There was 2 exact same incidents. I don't care what anybody says in that game. The Southampton and the Arsenal one, both sent off. What happens is he gets his one rescinded. You know what I mean? That it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. You know what I mean? Like I see, too many mistakes with VAR now. Love and behold, it's for us. And it gets it's getting on my nerves and all that. And unfortunately, we've just got to realistically take it.
We have, yeah. So it's done. It's done and dusted, isn't it?
People will turn around and say, and I agree with what they're saying. We have got to get into a situation where, when referees make mistakes, it does not matter. Like in the old days, when you had bang, 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 3 or 4-0 up, it don't matter if these incompetent people make mistakes, and they certainly do. And I tell you what wound me up on Sunday was that I see Kevin Friend out there refereeing again. And that just about summed it all up for me, you know what I mean? But as I just said on the podcast earlier on, Shaka's made a mistake and he'll probably be playing on Thursday, So that's so you've got to be accountable for your mistakes as a team, and as they have done there. And be interested on Thursday to see what happens, because Danny Ceballos made a horrendous mistake at Benfica. Axed.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point.
Let's see if it happens to Granite.
I just want to bring this one in from Will. Thank you very much, mate, for your kind donation and question. Miguel Aziz till the end of the season. What have we got to lose? Xhaka is a joke. He's not our standard. Best Arsenal podcast on the market. Well, thank you very much indeed for your kind words and your kind donation. Dan, I mean, to be honest with you, we haven't got anything to lose by putting in Miguel Aziz in there, but I don't think he will.
No,
he's not going to. But it's a good point. The league is. We're all sitting here saying that the league is over. The Europa League is our only option. Is it an option now to start putting some young fellas in?
Well, I would. This manager won't. This manager will stick to Willian and Xhaka and Bellerin and Lacazette, because that's who he likes. I mean, I will say how Judges has turned up there and he 7:15. There we go. Right, end of podcast. Lee Judges wrapped it up. Nice than me and Albert breaking it down bit by bit. Judges full rant. Right,
That's
let's go, boys.
Straight
we'll
in.
see you later.
Yeah. You can go now.
That's it. Don't waste my time.
I love it. No, I love it. I love you, judges. No, listen, it is a situation where this team currently, there are players that aren't good enough. My problem is, Craig, the ones that aren't good enough, this manager seems to like. This manager seems to really want to keep them. He wants to give David Luiz a new contract. He wants to beg Granit Xhaka to stay. He loves Bellerin, absolutely loves him. And I'm hoping now that was a statement at the weekend that we might not be seeing Bellerin much longer because he didn't see him in the team. But I'm sure he'll come back in on Thursday night. So some of these, Willian is another great example. But some of these players aren't getting the time that they deserve. I don't really understand what Pepe did wrong. I can only hope and pray that he's playing on Thursday. And that was why he didn't play at the weekend. Granit Xhaka will be playing on Thursday, 100%. We will see Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey on Thursday night. And people have said in the chat, who else have we got to put in there? Well, there are options.
It is a good point, though. Who else is, if you don't play Bellerin and Cedric's injured, who's he going to play? If we don't play Saka and Pepe or Willian get injured, who's he going to play? There is a point to that, mate, because I've said it before, you can't play. He's playing Xhaka because there's no one else to put in there.
Well, I would agree with that if we got to a stage of... So let's look at the centre midfield, because we've managed to buy Thomas Partey and somehow our midfield is the worst it's ever been. And I don't quite understand how that is, because if that is honestly the best we've got, my God, we're in trouble. If Granit Xhaka is
at the
best
moment,
midfielder we've got...
At the moment, I will bring in the other lads on this in a minute, but I can't see Xhaka being a starter or being at Arsenal next year.
I can.
I can't see him starting. I can't see him starting.
On what evidence? Arteta plays him 90 minutes every single game. First name on the team sheet.
But I can't, as much like I'm talking now neutrally. I just can't see how a manager can't play him, because I see that he's just got, there's no one else to put in there. And I think that he's playing Xhaka because of that fact. I don't think he's playing him because he loves him or anything like that. I'm just think you're right there, Lee.
Well, yeah, it's just there seems to be more of a shine coming off of your camera. I don't know what it is. Is it the new earphones you got there?
You'd know all about that, wouldn't you?
I don't know. You had a haircut or something there or something?
Yes, we've already done that. We've already done that one.
Was that? I don't know. I didn't know. Is it for a bet or something? Or what's
no, not at all. I've just I'm happy with the way I am, and this is the way I am.
Well, it's a good trim that is. You know what I mean? So I thought it was somebody else there for a moment.
My apologies, Dan.
Carry on,
sorry, my apologies, Dan, for the rudeness.
Turn your light down on your camera a little bit, that's all I'm saying.
My apologies for that rudeness. Dan.
No, you're
sorry.
quite
Carry on.
If you would have turned up on time, judges, you would have had. We already had this discussion, mate.
Yeah,
come on,
did, bro.
Come
on. It's been done.
It's shining off on my camera. I get some sunglasses. Hold on a minute. Where's my shades?
He's unbelievable, isn't he? Yes. So let's get back to it, shall we?
Yeah,
it's all this fame, you see.
It is. It is indeed.
When he wasn't famous, he wouldn't dare.
Did you use your Manscaped?
I did. That's been done as well.
He said that
joke.
He said that when you covered that already.
Did you use it for your top half? That's what I'm saying.
That joke's been done as well.
I do not wish to know.
Yeah, that joke's been done. Do you want any more? Do you want to have a go?
No, I do not want to have a look. Thank you very much. Carry on.
Carry on. Sorry about that. I'll edit this out. The audio.
We will. We'll have to edit this out. So Granit Xhaka, listen, we all know what I think about the guy. We all do know what I think about Granit Xhaka. Some people think he's a great player. Others think he's not such a great player. I think he is an error-prone player that has always got what happened this weekend and what happened last weekend against Leicester, by the way, which he was also at fault for the goal. Happens 5, maybe 6, maybe even 7 or 8 times a year.
I played devil's advocate a bit there now. It wasn't just his fault, but yeah, I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, but he was part of that with Willian, wasn't he, last week for the goal, right? So I look at that situation and think this is now needed to stop now. We can't have this guy for the last 5 or 6 years that he's been in the team. He's making errors all the time. people say, who else has he got? Well, that's Arteta to find out, isn't it? Because if he's happy to keep Xhaka in this side, then that is going to happen. He didn't like Guendouzi, who in my opinion is better than Xhaka. He didn't like Torreira, who in my opinion was, as a footballer, better than Granit Xhaka. And El Neni is just a steady Eddie. He's not really one that's going to take us forward. Danny Ceballos, however, as Lee Judges has just said, has a good game. Then he makes a horrendous mistake against Benfica. Gone. Completely gone. Granit Xhaka made a mistake last week, played 90 minutes, and he played 90 minutes again this week. I bet he plays 90 minutes again on Thursday.
That's a good point, to be fair. You know, you're spot on, and that's, you know, it's a good opinion and a good point. Albert, coming on to, it's all very well us sitting here talking about Xhaka made a mistake. He did. He made a mistake, and it cost us a goal. We can all see that. We all saw the mistake. But let's flip it. We should have been 2-3-0 up by the time that mistake came. Are we? Do you, Arteta's come in and he's made us better defensively. That's clear for all. Well, that's arguable. Well, it's arguable. We've got the third best defense in the league, right? So that's statistically, right? Okay. Are we being overcoached up front? Are they trying to be too fancy? Are they trying to walk the ball into the net? When was the last time you saw an Arsenal player hit a ball from outside the box?
Craig, I haven't seen an Arsenal player have a shot from outside the box for about 5 years.
Yeah, do you think, is there a bit of overcoaching going on? Are they afraid to have a go from out, or have they been told, you know, walk it in?
It has to be a coach. It has to be a coaching thing. But I just think instinctively as a player, if you have they say shoot on sight, you get taught as that when you're a kid. That doesn't matter what country you develop playing football in. But at Arsenal, that's been a problem for years, mate. I don't know why that is. Like the gaffer said earlier, this season we've gone from not creating a lot of chances to creating chances, but we're still not ruthless, mate. We need to put teams to bed. When I saw that first 11, like I said on Saturday morning, that was more than good enough to put that Burnley side away.
Oh,
they're not going to threaten us. They've only got one way of playing. And in that first half, they didn't threaten us. Their bread and butter is getting crosses into the box or getting crosses in from, diagonal areas. But in the first half, that was non-existent. And like you said, we gift wrap them the goal. But in terms of the coaching side of it, I think it's a thing of they need to be more ruthless. But I think, you know what it is, Craig? I just think they need to be more ruthless, mate. And the problem is, you look at our squad, our squad of players. We can turn around and say they're not good enough. I don't want to talk about Xhaka much more, apart from the fact that he does play, because we have got other players, but they're just not good enough. But,
I mean, look, Mark brings a good point in there. Let me bring it in. Our strikers are not ruthless enough. Our midfield is not good enough. Our defence always gives the opposition chances. That lays with the manager. Good point.
Yeah, and to add to what Mark was saying in terms of the strikers, it's like I'm saying, because I'm sure you probably will touch on, the Martinelli thing, and people seem to change their narrative very, very quickly when it comes to talking about Martinelli. Oh, but he's got to earn his place back in the team. He's not being rushed back into the team. He's had a serious injury. We understand that, but I go back to what I said before when we played Aston Villa. We're losing the game 1-0, boys. We've got 5-10 minutes to go. None of our strikers on the pitch are doing the business as usual at the time. You've got 5 minutes to go. You've got one more sub to make, and you bring on Willian, who's had 2 shots on target in 25 plus games. That makes no sense to me, whether you're an experienced manager or not. It doesn't make any sense. And the strikers this season have not played well enough for Martinelli not to get 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. That doesn't make sense to me. I would love someone to ask Mikel Arteta, what has he got to do to get any type of minutes in the first team when we're having to get a goal or to chase games? It doesn't make sense to me, mate.
Absolutely. Let's just quickly bring this one in from Pramod. Thank you very much, sir, for your kind donation. Arteta is a methodical coach. Thank you very much, Dan. I didn't really go to school.
Well done, Dan.
I was always skiving off playing Killer Instinct on Super Nintendo. He likes his triangles.
Penny up the wall it was for me.
What's that?
Penny up the wall.
Oh, I used to play that as well. Yeah, you're not that old, mate. He likes to play in triangles, patterns of play. Wants the team to play that every time, everywhere. Would you agree with that, Lee?
Yeah, spot on, spot on. I think that there is a little bit of that in there. I'm a little bit worried about. So, you know, Albert makes a great point there. You know, about my. If we're second, third in the league, going for the title or something like that, I can understand why Martinelli's not in the team on getting minutes. I can understand that. But we're 10th in the league. We're failing week in, week out, missing chances left, right and centre, and he's still not getting a chance. So if I'm sitting there as a player of his ability, I'd be a bit worried, thinking, well, you know, when am I going to get into this team? When, you know, I can understand.
He rates him, though, Lee. He rates him, this manager, apparently. He rates him. You know, so we keep hearing.
Obviously, he rates Willian more then because you know Willian. I listen. I've got no bones, and I've got no worry about it. If come Thursday, Pepe's in the team on the left hand side, it's Saka and Aubameyang. I got no issues that Martinelli's not in that side. I will have issues if it's Aubameyang out on the left and Lacazette in the middle, or it's like. Willian comes into the team in front of him, then I'll start thinking, hold on a minute, there's something not right. You can keep going on about why he's playing on the left-hand side, why he's not playing because of injuries or he's got slight, you know, concerns on that. I get that, but when he first got back from injury, they chucked him in straight away. All right, and then maybe he's broke down. So there could be something in that. So we've got to just give it slightly the benefit of the doubt at this moment in time. So I'll go along with that. But as my thing is, that if you want to get a player now, let's take Thomas Partey for instance. He is come back into the team after 2 injuries, 20 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, 60 minutes. Why? Because he wants to get him fit as soon as he possibly can to get him in the team. I don't see him doing that with Martinelli. We're 4-0 up against Newcastle or whatever. 10, 15 minutes to go. That's the perfect opportunity to bring him on. He doesn't. You know, so I am a little bit worried about that, like, you know. I'm a little bit worried about a lot of decisions that Mikel Arteta is making at the moment. And when you say about whether it be a coach or not. You know, just going back to the Granit Xhaka one, like, you know, I mean, people go at me, well, we ain't got no one better. Well, we don't know. Why don't we know? Because he plays every single minute.
Thanks, Lee. That's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah, but we do know. Who is there? Who's he going to play?
Well, I don't know. Well, what about trying Ceballos in there? But what about trying Ceballos and Partey? What about trying somebody else in there?
We haven't seen Ceballos and Partey once,
but it is just Ceballos, isn't it? That's all we've got, though, to be honest. It is just Ceballos.
Well, you've got El Nini. You know,
Aziz, the young kid. You know, you've got to try something else. It ain't always happening.
Wouldn't we then be sitting here saying, "Oh, he's playing El Nini. God, he ain't got a clue."
No, but I agree with you. So, but what I'm saying is, so why are people moaning that he keeps playing Granit Xhaka all the time? If that's what if people don't think that what's name's good enough or whatever, then don't play. All of a sudden, this is another thing. It's just come up in the chat, not mentioned in that. Callum Chambers, he's come in from nowhere to get a game.
Yeah.
All over. Yeah.
You know, so, and I'm thinking myself baffling, and
makes no sense, man.
I caught up on the last bit of what Albert said. Yeah, right. Okay, we're taking Odegaard off, like, you know what I mean? And then he puts Lacazette into the number 10 role, like, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, you know, and I'm not just going to blame him for that. Do you know what I mean? If you're on the line, right, and you say, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, you know, Lacazette's been playing fantastically well for us the last few games, holding the ball up, scoring. I'm going to put him into the holding midfield role. Like, surely someone on the bench should go, no, don't do that. Don't do that. We've got why don't you just keep with Odegaard? Now, I'm going to be a little bit in his defence here. I think he took Odegaard off because he needed him for Thursday, needed him for Sunday. So it's just like give him a bit of a rest. So I get that. I think that with Partey, people going, why did he take Partey off? Because he wants him for Thursday. But I don't see. I see that, but I don't see that with Martinelli. Why? When is Martinelli going to get games? When is he going to get game time?
I said it before, didn't I, mate? I'm not too sure. Like I said it before, didn't I? When we were talking about Martinelli, weeks and weeks ago, and I said, who's worried that he doesn't fancy him?
Well, I think it's getting to that stage. I think that, you know, you can talk about young players, Balogun. You can talk about Saliba. You can talk about Martinelli. All these players are surely better than what we've got. We've got players continually making mistakes. I look at Granit Xhaka, and I think Granit Xhaka's played really well for us for the last few games. I have to say that. I'll argue his case, but at this moment in time, we don't know what happens like if he does get injured.
That's what I just said. Yeah, before you came on, I said it. Yeah, that's what.
Who's going to come in then? So give someone a chance to do that. And that is my problem with this at the moment. I see like Lacazette miss a couple of chances, dropped. I see Aubameyang miss chances. You're in next week.
Yeah.
I see Bellerin make mistake after mistake at right back, still in there. I see Cedric play really well, dropped. I then go into midfield. I see Xhaka giving away mistakes, doing things. Odegaard, he has got to step up to the plate somewhere along the line. It's all right saying, yeah, it's all good stuff, and I think he's been great at the moment. Not one assist, not one goal. Our midfield does not score goals. It does not create too much. It's got to improve. And why? So, and then you look at the forward line, and you're seeing, let's be honest about it. Well, if you was Martinelli, and I don't know if he goes and talks to his dad or whatever and everything there, you say, what justification has Willian got that gives him the chance to play in front of him? What has he done over the past 6 months to turn around and say, yeah, he deserves to play in place of Martinelli and be given a chance? I don't see it. I think
it's contractual. I really do. I think it's in his contract for his first year. He's got to play so many games. I honestly think that. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but it's got to be contractual. It's the only thing I can come up with, Dan.
Well, if it is contractual, then I want to know who the hell is sorting out these deals, because I've heard this before, that they have to play a certain amount of minutes and they have to come off at this time and he has to make subs at this time because it's in contracts. Then it's clowns running it, isn't it? And it's a circus, if that is the truth. Because if you have to play somebody, then I as a fan want to know what the hell I'm paying money for then, because I want to be looking at players who are allowed to come off if they're not having a good game, or are allowed to be dropped if they don't deserve to be in the team. And if that is true, which I really hope it is not, then I think it's a disgrace. I really do. And there's one common denominator here about why is this not happening? Why this not happening? It's because this manager, as much as everyone loves him, is mismanaging these players big time. We've seen it with Saliba. We've seen it with Maitland-Niles. We've seen it with Pepe. We're now seeing it with Ceballos. We're now seeing it with Martinelli. We've seen it in the past. At the moment, he doesn't know what two centre-halves to pick. He's got no idea what two centre-halves to pick because he's not sticking with. How many more changes are we going to see in some of these centre-halves? We've got Pablo Mari now playing well, so he doesn't know who to partner in. Gabriel, who everyone said Gabriel and Partey, absolutely superb. We've hardly seen him play. Gabriel doesn't get in the team anymore. And Partey can't last 90 minutes, which I'm worried about, by the way, because he could at Atletico Madrid, and he doesn't look like he's fit enough after 60 for me. So there's some serious concerns in this team, mate. And I think when you look at what the manager is doing currently, it is very, very confusing. And I don't blame the manager for the weekend's game solely. I think that there were some strange decisions. I don't look at the tactics and think that I don't know what happened after 25 minutes, if I'm honest with you, Craig, because we looked so good. We got the early goal and I thought this is looking good now. Now go and build on this. And we just never did. We sat back. No. We let Burnley come on us. We then started to park the bus and started to get worried. And I'm thinking, where is all this tactics coming from? There's no style of play here. There's no passing in triangles anymore. There's none of this high intensity. There's one high intensity. The other 10 sit back. Then there's the other one that goes, the other 10 sit back. I can't understand that. I don't see where we're going with that with this team. And, I take a step back and not just to look at today's, weekend's results. I look at where we are in the table and I look at the bigger picture and I think, where are we going here then? Because I'm trusting a process, which I've been trusting for 16 years, by the way, not 16 months. I'm trusting the process, or supposedly I have to, and I can't see any progression. Because we're worse than last year, fact. We are not playing, in my opinion, very well, although people are saying we're improving. The results say we're not improving. We're not picking up points that I believe everyone is telling me we're going to get. And we get one good result against Leicester, which we didn't see coming, and then we get a bad result against Burnley. Yeah. And it seems that, I think somebody said the other day, We're only a couple of points behind Spurs. Before we know it, we're now 8 points behind them. If they beat us on at the weekend again, and it's gone again. So this league, I've been saying it for a while. We need to just forget this season in terms of the league and put all of our eggs into the Europa League basket. Because I tell you what, Craig, if we don't get through again against Olympiacos, then this manager deserves to be sacked. I don't care what anybody says. You can't be sitting in joint 11th in the league and out at the end of this week of pretty much everything in your season in March and deserve another chance. But he will, because the ultimate problem is not just Arteta. I don't hate Arteta. People seem to think I do. I don't hate Arteta at all. I think he's doing the best he can. It ain't good enough. And we need to move on and make sure that we are not in a position where we're going back further and further and further. Top 4 was never good enough. Now everyone's crying out for it, but 6th is okay. Trust the process. 10th, that'll be all right, as you know, because he's still building. It's trust the process. Give him till the summer. What's going to happen next summer? This is we're going down and down and down. And I look at it, and I don't think we're going to win anything under these owners, because these owners don't give a damn. They're happy that we're 10th. They're accepting that. So until we move and look at the bigger picture, Craig, I think we're in this problem for a long, long time until our owners and board are changed. I really do worry about that.
I agree with everything you said there, but coming on to the ownership thing, I mean, we saw the figures and facts and figures come out of the club this morning financially. I'll ask you, Albert. I think Arteta is. I mean, people watch this podcast think I'm some kind of Arteta, that Arteta's an angel. I understand that he's not. And when he was first announced, I was very underwhelmed with the appointment. I was hoping that they'd seen that they'd made a mistake with Emery, and that they were going to bring a manager of some stature in. But after reading what I've been reading today about money and how much money we've lost, and that Arsenal, we're not self-sustaining anymore. From the figures that have come out, the only way that we're going to be able to afford to buy players is to ship them out. So, if we heard that Arteta is looking at 6 players to swap around, bring them in, he's going to have to offload. I mean, Albert, to you, do you believe what you hear about Arteta looking at 6 players?
Craig, the noises I hear coming out of this club for about the last 10, 15 years, I don't believe anything they say. And there's evidence to show that. I mean, I said at the start of the season, Craig, right, that if you're looking at over a course of a Premier League season or league season, you've got to look at your players and say, who do I trust over the course of a 38-game season to get me through the season? And before we signed anyone or transfers in and out, I said, I'll go through the team. I said, I trust the 2 goalkeepers at the time, which was Leno and Martinez. That's 2. Tierney 3, Saka 4, Aubameyang 5, Martinelli 6. After that, I'm struggling, because you can't trust these group of players over a course of a season to get you even probably top 6 football. Forget top 4. I look at the 3 most prominent positions, 3 of the most prominent positions at this football club, right? A first team manager, technical director, and a chief executive. They're all inexperienced. How has that been allowed to happen at Arsenal Football Club, that you take on a rookie manager, a rookie technical director, and a chief executive? Yes, he's been at the club many years, Vinay, but he's inexperienced in the role. And we've got obviously Richard Garlick, who's coming to deal with the contracts. He's only been here 5 minutes, so he's got an even bigger job, arguably, probably, to sort the mess out that's happened before. So when they talk about the 6 players thing, Craig, I've always said to me, I always look at the players the players that we need to get rid of first before we bring players in. We've got a spine of a team at the club, but the issue is do not have the players around them for Arsenal to progress. That is the big problem. So it's all well laying down the money for Partey and talking about bringing Basuma in. It's going to be pointless having those 2 guys in an Arsenal team, because if you look at the players around them, how are they going to flourish? And the thing that I find strange with the Arteta thing is people talk about his backroom staff, for example, right? And they say that they're experienced. Well, he needs to lean on them a little bit more if they're experienced, because he's a rookie manager. He's making mistakes on the job at one of the biggest clubs in English football. So, I mean, you know, I think the FA Cup win papered over a lot of cracks, mate. Probably maybe the best thing that could have happened, and it's crazy to say it, but I think it does make sense, is if we didn't win that day against Chelsea. You know, and I'll sort of take it back even a little bit further, Craig. I know, obviously, everybody has their opinion of when Arsene Wenger should have gone or should have been moved on. But for me, I've always stuck by and said that irrespective of whatever happened in that cup final against Hull back in 2014, he should have gone.
I massively agree.
That's 7 years ago.
Yeah.
That, of course, that could have helped in terms of the rebuild at Arsenal, whether it's in terms of bringing world-class players. We do a bit of wheeling and dealing. But I think also as well, just to finish up on my last point, Arsenal fans have to ask themselves the honest question. I've said this before and I say it again. What is it you want? Because if you're going to stick the neck out for people like Xhaka and Bellerin and Luiz, and there's good around the youngsters, and Bellerin's been called up for Spain and Xhaka's the captain of Switzerland, but you want better quality, you can't have both. These guys need to be moved on because they're not good enough for Arsenal Football Club. I always say to people, your own set of eyes don't lie to you in what you see on the pitch, irrespective of Twitter and Instagram. You can see what you see. And we're in for a bumpy road, mate. I've said it before. We ain't going to win the Premier League in 10 years' time. We're not going to win it. We're not moving in the right directions for that to happen. Things have not been put in place. Yes, I understand things off the pitch. There's been a lot of boardroom change. I understand that. But again, it's inexperience at a senior level at a football club of Arsenal's size. It's crackers to me.
Great point.
Yeah,
great point.
Massively great point. Lee, have you read anything today about the financial dealings at the club today?
No, I don't believe in all of that. I mean, the financial. Listen. So, what amazes me about the financial thing? Say if Sky went bust tomorrow, what happens then?
Yeah.
What happens then? This is the thing. We've got no fans in the stadium. They're still getting their TV money and all that. They're not going to go skint, these clubs. You know what I mean? They might have to brawl in their purses a little bit. And the fact of the matter is that you're getting £100 million players instead of 20 million players 20 years ago. So we have to go back to that route. That's how it is. You know what I mean? So I don't believe in all of that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? And I can tell you this now: Spanish clubs and French clubs are going to be a lot worse off than us at the moment because they haven't got the Sky money that we've got. So I don't go into that. The fact of the matter with Arsenal at the moment, and this is the key: we watched a game against Leicester last week, and football is a results-driven business, right? Okay, we sack the managers on results and whatever. We get a result against Leicester, and what that does is that makes me, whether I'm gullible or not, think, "Wow, this is great. Arsenal on the road now to do something good, beating Leicester, and not only beating Leicester, the way we beat Leicester." And you think, "This is it now. We've turned a corner. We've got a nice week's rest." Where we can rest the players, get them trained, get them focused for the game against Burnley. And then we come out against Burnley and we shoot ourselves in the foot. And this is the thing, what worries me about the mentality of this football club. When is this team going to go on 5 games? Just 5. I'm not asking for 10, 15. 5 W's in a row. It cannot do it.
Just 3, Lee. Just 3 will do. Just 3 wins will do. But we can't even get that, mate. We can't even get 3.
Cannot go out there and go bosh, 5 wins on the spin. There's always something happening, whether it's a VAR decision, a penalty against us, missed chances, whatever. And I think that is a mentality. You've got to have, a ruthlessness within the club, a manager that's going to say, right, this is not acceptable. When I played, the manager come in, first of all, he said, right, the first thing we need to do is go 10 games unbeaten. When you can do 10 games unbeaten, you've got a future at this football club. So we knew we had to get 10 games, fight for it and whatever, Now I see it's brushed aside. What I see with Arsenal at the moment, I'll tell you where Arsenal are consistent. They're consistent at being inconsistent. They go win, loss, draw, win, draw, loss, win. It ain't good enough for Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal Football Club have got to get on a 5-game winning streak or something like that. Now, when that happens, right, we can go in like Chelsea do, all of a sudden jump into the top 4. And I'm not saying unbeaten runs. I'm talking 5 consecutive wins on the spin. Have we done it this season? I can't remember doing it. We might have won 3 or 4 and then drawn 1. Or something like that. I'm talking win. And we have not done it. And that is what we've got to do. We've got to go and get some straight wins and a mentality of not being able to. Now, it's a funny thing, football. I don't care what anybody says. Look at Liverpool. You look at them and be a serious 2.5 years, 3 years without losing a game at home. And now they can't bite. They've lost 6 on the spin. That's what can happen in football. So you can easily get it, or you can easily lose it. But you've got to be able to have that winning mentality. I don't think enough of these players. I think with that Arsenal Football Club and these players, I think a lot of them look at it and go, "I've made it. I've got to play for Arsenal," and instead of that, and they're happy to just be an Arsenal player instead of being a winning Arsenal player, a player with determination and things like that. And I think we've lost that a little bit. I don't think it, as a fan, through the time, I expect Arsenal to go. I've been watching Arsenal when we've gone 10, 15, 20 games without losing. You want to go like in that 49 games. But when that time, and in that 49 game run, we've drawn a few. But what I'm saying is, in those runs, I can guarantee you there would have been 5 wins on the spin. 5 wins. You ever look at title challenging sides? It might be 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, but 5 in a row.
Yeah,
has happened, you know what I mean? Good
point. Well, it's a great point. This one comes in from Alexander. Thank you very much, mate. We need new players. Period. These players are so inconsistent that you honestly can't blame Arteta. No matter who you put in, they will make mistakes. Massively agree. This one comes in from Alexander Gomez. Informative stream as always, highly appreciative. Well, thank you very much indeed, Alexander. We're glad you are enjoying it, mate. Dan, have you got anything to say on what's come out of the club today financially? I mean, we were supposed to be this big self-sustaining model. From what I can see, we're not self-sustaining anymore. And that lot up the road are actually above us in money made.
It's embarrassing, isn't it? It really is embarrassing of where we've come. And what makes me laugh, and I always say this, is when we moved to the Emirates, we moved from Highbury, and all we hear is we wanted to compete with Barcelona and Bayern Munich. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Weren't we in a Champions League final with Barcelona while we were at Highbury? So we already were competing with them. So I don't know why we had to move to the Emirates to ensure that we're competing with Barcelona, because we ain't got to a Champions League final against them since. And every time that we got them in the Emirates era, we got hammered either 3-1, 3-0, 10-2 on aggregate against Bayern Munich. Absolutely battered. So it ain't gone too well for our plan in the last 16, 17 years at all, Craig, right? And then financially, I don't know what's happening at the moment, but of course we have had a Champions League wage budget, thanks to Mr. Wenger and Mr. Gazidis, with a team that has been competing in the Europa League badly. So of course that's skinted the club. Now, I look at some of the money that we have spent badly, like the Pepe deal, putting people on stupid wages, going in for players that were like 4 times too much for them, looking at players like Granit Xhaka and Mustafi for a combined 70 million. That for me has just been year on year bad business. And I don't feel personally, like Albert says, that we have got anything of the next 3 or 5 years to look forward to, even with a new regime or new plan, because we still have the same owners. We still pretty much got the same board that are still dinosaurs in Peckham of Harris, whatever the hell his name is.
Lord Harris of Peckham.
Harris of Peckham, that's him. I just think of Only Fools and Horses. And obviously Ken Fryer, obviously all those lot of dinosaurs. Just because Edu and Vina and Arteta have now got this plan, I don't think personally we're going to see most things change. Because Albert makes a great point about novices. We're a novice club, really, aren't we now? Because we've got owners that has been given no ambition whatsoever about football. they don't know enough about Arsenal Football Club. His son basically owns us, yeah, I think. I don't think Stan's got any interest at all. Josh seems to have more interest in that. He's a novice. You've got a novice in Edu. You've got a novice in Arteta. And what that does is it goes from top to bottom of people who are just novices controlling a massive football club, one of the best football clubs in the world. And that then leads to the pitch, because who's been shining for us this season? Our professionals or our novices? Our novices in Saka and Smith Rowe have been performing week in, week out. So that's the mentality that we have at the moment throughout this football club, in my opinion, is we are just a novice club. And it's as if we've gone right the way back all of a sudden to 2006, that we're now moving back into the Emirates for the first time with a squad that needs now to be trusting a process because we're starting again. I don't look at this squad and think it's any worse than Everton, Leicester's or West Ham's. But they've got a coach who knows what they're doing for a start, that has managed to get them playing the way that I believe we should be playing. I would have taken Carlo Ancelotti 100%. I would have taken Brendan Rodgers 100%. But we've been left with a novice manager, with a novice club, and the mentality has been 10th is okay. So, of course, there's no pressure on Arteta, is there? Absolutely none whatsoever. And it worries me, Craig, massively. And we should be doing better. That team, no one can sit there and tell me that this team should be joint 11th. I don't care what anybody says. This is a team that is better than joint 11th, yeah? We should be at least in the top 6 with the side that we've got. And people can say Chakas and Bellerins are bad and all this, and I get that. But we have got the Parties, the Sakas, the Martinellis, the Aubameyangs, the Lacazettes, the Pepes, the Tierneys that everybody's raving about. So why is it that those players that are so great that everyone loves are 11th in the league? That can't be right. And the manager has to take some blame for that.
Oh, he does, of course. But where I would flip that again, Albert, is we've seen 3 managers try to manage most of these players, and 3 managers can't get a song out of them.
Craig, you know what it is? I'm glad you came to me. I just wanted to say, I want to address a couple of things in the chat, because I can't remember, the guy was talking about, having a different point of view in regards to Arteta, Xhaka and the board. But I'll repeat what I said. Like, we've got 3 inexperienced guys in quite senior positions at the club. So that's, if you're looking at success for this club going forward, you're going to be waiting a very, very long time. And you've seen what you've seen the years before that. So I just wanted to sort of address that. And also in terms of the players, this is the running thing I have, like, with sections of the fan base, in terms of when I talked about quality of players. Now, if you mention a Basuma or a James Justin or a Doucouré, sections of the fan base tell you, but we've already got Xhaka, we've already got Bellerin, as if to say these players are not good enough. But they're Premier League proven. I don't understand. Yep. James Justin, before the injury, has been outstanding for Leicester. He would walk into our team at fullback, right back.
I think it's a model that we should be looking at. But, Premier League players who are perhaps not 50, 60, 70 million pounds. Lee, what would you say about that, Lee? I mean, surely we want round pegs to go into round holes, don't we? Should we be looking, because it's worked for other clubs. Some of the players have come from the lower teams and have gone into teams and have excelled.
Listen, I get that, and I get that, everybody. I don't think we should be looking at any other models but our own model. Why should we be looking at what Liverpool are doing and what Leicester are doing, or what Newcastle are doing, what other teams are doing, Tottenham are doing, or whatever?
Because it's working?
Well, yeah, but just because it's working for them doesn't mean to say it's going to work for us. We're on a different, completely more, like, what we've got to do is have our own vision, our own proper people in there, and get the people in there to do the jobs properly. Now, I think that we've had a vision, we just haven't had the proper people doing the proper job, and that's what I feel. Look at the money that we have wasted in the transfer market. We're in a different position now to what we was a year ago, where we had no assets, no nothing. All of a sudden, we've got 3 or 4 assets, in young players coming through. So it's what we can do with those players. I do see. I know what Albert and I agree with what Albert and what Dan are saying, but I do see some sort of progress. I do see we've signed Thomas Partey, we've signed Gabriel. We've signed a decent goalkeeper, which we've been crying out for a very, very long while. We've signed a central defender in Gabriel that's good. We've got Mari as a good player that's come in. Like I've seen Martinelli come into the side. So there have been improvements to this side. There has. You know, you can't say that there hasn't. But what worries me about it, and you know, because why does it have to take so long? Why has the process got to take so long? I look at Aston Villa, and I don't want to go, as I say, I'm not going to go in other teams and whatever, but when I'm looking at Aston Villa, they survived the league by 1 point last season. They're higher than us. We've you know, certainly not the same sort of finances. They've been in the bleating Championship for 10 years. You know, so why have they managed to get themselves and their acts together a lot quicker than us? And I think that's the problem with art. We look at other things, we've got to get rid of players and everything there. Yeah, we've had to get rid of players, but we've got rid of those players in January. I don't see too much of an improvement. I don't think there's been a massive improvement since those players have been gone. Now, we have improved since you made the point a couple of weeks ago, Craig. We have improved since December, and we have, but we've not improved enough. And like I look at what Leicester are doing and other teams like that, but that doesn't mean to say that that's the right move for Arsenal and that's the right move for us initially. We've got players now. I still think it's a results-driven business. I do believe that, and I do believe.
Would it change your mind? Would it change your mind? Do you know how much we've spent on players and agent fees in the last 4 years?
I bet 400 million, 300 million.
£561 million in the last 4 years.
There you go. So that tells you a lot, doesn't it? Like, you know, but what we've done is we've not done that properly. Those people should be sacked from this football club and never nowhere near it before, because that is ridiculous. Yeah. And I'm not saying that you know that's not on. That is not on at this football club, and because now mistakes have been made, we've got to do this and got to do that. Then we'll have to do it. And what I will say about it now is what I think, like, you know, Chris. I was speaking to Chris Hudson going back months ago, you know, and Chris come up with a great point when he turned around to me and said, "When George Graham come to Arsenal, I see immediate improvement. I see something happening." Now, when you go back to that George Graham era, and the people that are in the chat and remember it and all that, we wasn't struck on George Graham becoming the new manager. He wasn't the first choice manager of Arsenal Football Club. Far from it. But what he done is he come in and, hold on a minute, this can be good. Now, Arsenal, when Arsene Wenger took over in 95, 96, I think 96, 97, the seasons before that, 94, 95, we was a poor side. But he came in and straight away turned things around. And you thought, hold on a minute, this looks good. But under Unai Emery, it didn't look good. And certainly under Mikel Arteta, it's a year gone on. I don't see anything really that has changed. Yes, the defence has got a little bit better, but maybe that's because he's got a decent goalkeeper in there now and a defender here and whatever. But nothing's really gone off where I can say, I see something happening here. And yeah, I do think that whatever way it comes down to the manager and what he does. What he does is a big role in a football club. He's the one that gets the players going week in, week out.
If like, I take your point on board, mate, it's completely relevant. But as a host and for topical discussion, you named what West Ham are doing now, what Aston Villa are doing now. You know, there's a few teams who are down near the bottom end. You know, their fans must have been saying the same last year. You know, about Villa and about West Ham, this, that, and the other. Is there any chance that could happen here, Lee?
What?
The next year we drive on. You know.
100%. This is the thing about football. You don't know, do you? Look. You can look at a few things. 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, Mourinho was under all sorts of pressure at Tottenham. You know, I mean, they were losing it. All of a sudden, he chucks in Gareth Bale, right, and gets a tune out of him and all that, like. And then you have to say, well, fair play to him. But what we're seeing at Arsenal is the same thing week in, week out, and that is my problem. Albert made a point about the FA Cup last season. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? I can't look at it like that. I have to say, from my point of view, when Arsenal come under George Graham, his first season he won the League Cup. That buys you a little bit of time, and quite rightly so. But there was things happening at Arsenal. Then went and lost the following season to Luton in the Cup, and I thought, well, what's going on here? But then he went and bought a couple of players, and he won the league. Now, this is what's got to happen with Mikel Arteta. Whatever happens in the summer, he's got to be given some sort of players to come in. If he gets a couple of players in that he wants, I think Arsenal are not that far off from being a decent side. It's got to be managed properly. I believe that it's got to be managed properly. It's got to be driven properly. You know what I mean? Because you've got to dangle carrots as a manager. You've got to give these players something to keep fighting for week in, week out. And not believe that, this is the problem with Arsenal. Yeah, it's happy to get into top 4. No, that's not good enough. I think Man United, as big a club as Man United are, they've gone down that route of we've got to get top 4, and their standards have dropped. We've got to get our standards up again and go. And I said this to Dan, and I'll say it now. This is how far the fan base has dropped. Is that a lot of Arsenal fans will say, I'll tell you what, take a draw on Sunday against them down the road.
No, not for me. No way. No.
10 years ago, a draw was a bad thing against them. It was we dropped points. But now, there are
Lee, in 2003, mate, I remember the stadium being in mourning because we become second to Man United.
Mm-hmm.
Now look at us.
Yeah, different, slightly different now. But I remember going to the FA Cup.
And that's how far we've come, mate. That's how we've fallen.
Yeah, I remember coming home in the 2003, winning the FA Cup against Southampton. Weren't the greatest game, by the way, I remember that. Under the roof, if you remember it. But the week before, we'd lost to Leeds in the last game of the season. I still hadn't got over that defeat.
Yeah,
but we won the FA Cup. But the FA Cup was not a consolation. That's the wrong thing to say. But it wasn't the be end and end all. So listen, I think I was just seeing what Danny made a good point in the chat. It's a very, very hard to gauge this season when only what he was saying, only Manchester City have won 5 games on the trot this season. So I understand we can't probably, with no fans and everything like that. Maybe we've got to just sort of say, right, it is a one-off season for everybody, and see how it goes. I think. And I don't mean this, no disrespect to West Ham fans, because I've spoken to a couple of West Ham fans. Having no fans at the stadiums has sort of helped them a little bit, because of their stadium is a bit eerie at home and all that, where I think it's not helped. It's certainly not helped Liverpool at home. You can't have a team that's won for 3 years at home and all of a sudden no fans and they can't.
Yeah.
6 on the
Great
top.
point.
So there's got to be something to do with that. And I do believe that. So I, without going too much, I think that we've got to just take the pain a little bit to see what happens in the summer and go again. But I do think that Mikel has got to show a little bit more ruthlessness in team selection and the way we're playing the game. We're not ruthless in certain areas up front, and we're not ruthless at the back. I think he needs to get that sorted. And that's how it's seen. And will the club back him or not? Well, that's. I've got no faith in the board whatsoever.
Just before we move on, I'll bring this one in. Unique79, thanks for your kind donation, mate. Much appreciated. The big sustaining models are on the podcast. These 4 gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed, sir. Thank you very much indeed. Dan, we'll just quickly move on to the Olympiacos game.
Yeah. On
Thursday. We are going to be doing a question of Arsenal on Wednesday. We're going to look a bit more into it, but can you what's he got to do? Who's got to play? What does he do? What's he got to do for you, mate?
All our eggs go into this game, mate, because what I want to see is a convincing first leg so that we can have a little bit of a chance of going into Spurs and Olympiacos with some confidence. The last thing we need is a bad result here. So it's a massive, massive game. This is one of the biggest games, or the biggest game so far this season for me. Right now, we need to concentrate on putting all of our eggs into getting through against Olympiacos. And I don't want to see us go through on an away goal. I don't want to see us go through a last-minute headed winner. I want to see a nice, convincing performance, because they are not a great side, Olympiacos. Okay, they're not. We are better than them. We will win because we have to win. I'm not accepting anything more than in these 3 games. I'm not accepting anything less than performances and results that we need, because it's the only thing we've got to be positive about at the moment is this Europa League. And of course, the North London derby is always massive, Craig. So strongest team, and we need to no more errors. I've seen enough errors. I don't want any more errors in this game. This needs to be a convincing win.
Albert, Arteta's got a bit of a conundrum, hasn't he? I mean, does he go full strength against Olympiacos, full strength against Spurs, and then full strength against Olympiacos again? Does he risk his better players? Has he got his eye on the North London derby? Because I have to be honest, I'd rather see your strongest team in the North London derby.
Craig, you know what it is? I said to you on Saturday morning, I've said it for weeks. Trying to guess Arteta picking a starting 11, you forget about it. I don't think he knows what his strongest team is. That's the first point. We've got 3 very, very big football matches coming up, which is going to make our season, whatever way you want to look at it. What I do want to see in the next 3 games is please, Mikel Arteta, stick with a centre-back pairing. Just please stick with a centre-back pairing. The front 4, if you're going to change it, that you're going to upset some fans or some players, that's fine. But with the centre-backs, just keep the same centre-backs. But in terms of, you're going to play that formation, Craig, that 4-2-3-1, he's got a massive decision to make. ESR comes back in, obviously. I'll be bold enough to give Pepe a start personally. Saka on the right, and then it's a toss-up whether you pick Aubameyang or Lacazette. But looking at what Mikel Arteta has done recently, Lacazette will start. But yeah, 3 massive football games coming up, which is going to make or break our season. It's going to make or break Twitter and Instagram as well.
Absolutely. Lee, what about you, mate? Just quickly before we end.
Yeah, 3 big games to play your best team that's available for every game. So if he plays what he thinks is his best team on Thursday. If someone gets injured, then he replaces them. If not, they go again, and they go again until they get injured. Full strength on every single game in these 3 games. After that, they've got West Ham. If you want to rest a few, then so be it, because the league's gone. The league's gone. You know what I mean? Like, it means that hopefully when I say 3 games, if we rest, that means we've got through against in this round here, and then we just rest a few players for the league games, and when that Europa League comes round again, we go with a big side, strong. But I think I agree with Albert. Stick with a back 4, not just a back 2, a back 4 that's going to defend properly and go with it. If it's Bellerin at right back, it's Bellerin at right back. I'm sorry if that's down on Mikel Arteta's head. If that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. If he plays whoever he plays at the back, if he plays Granit Xhaka in midfield, if he plays Willian, fair play. If that's what he wants to do, if that's what he tells us that Willian's his man, then God help him, he must get through. Because if he doesn't, then that's it. Then he's done. He's done. And I don't care what people are saying. Danny's saying he's got a free ride till the end of the season. He ain't got a free ride with me if he plays Willian against Olympiacos and Tottenham and we lose those games. No free ride. No free ride. You play your best team that is available, and he's not in it. As simple as that, like, because the eye don't lie. Right? And that's a rhyme. So we're going to go with that, like, and that's how it's going to be. Go your strongest team, Mikel. Please play the players in form, win these games, and start making this fan base happy.
Yeah,
absolutely. I couldn't echo that anymore. We hope you all enjoyed it this evening. It's been another fantastic therapy session. Tomorrow we have another show planned for you called The Same Old England. Same Old England. Euros are just around the corner. Me and Lee and Nigel will be having a chat with none other than Warren Barton from Fox Sports in America. Obviously, ex-Newcastle, ex-Wimbledon.
Arsenal fan.
He'll be joining us, and we're gonna have a little show. We're gonna have a little talk about England's chances at the Euros, and we're going to go through the team, who we think we should be playing, who we think shouldn't be playing, who we might pick, who might get a seat on the plane. Wednesday night, then, a question of Arsenal with me, Dan, and Lee. We're going to look a bit more closer into the Olympiacos game.
Have you put so you jumped on him? Yeah, you jumped on.
Yeah,
I got invited on, mate. Thank you very much. I got invited on, and I said yes.
Only because I felt bad because I made a mistake this week with the shows. That's why I forgot about
Craig.
one.
That's nice, isn't it? You only got one because I made a mistake.
Well, you did. Yeah, you did say last week that you weren't doing anything else, so you could come and talk to me because you didn't have anything else better to do.
That's it.
So that's Wednesday, and then Thursday. There's I'm starting off a little spin-off podcast called Four Men and a Mic. But unfortunately, it might only be 3 men this week because the 4th fella I had in mind can't make it this week. So that's going to be starting on Wednesday. That's at 7 o'clock. That's between Thursday. Thursday at 7 o'clock before the Olympiacos game, and then Friday, of course, we'll have the team talk with Mr. Potts. Hopefully, talking about a nice a good win in the Europa League. And I'm sure Dan will go more in depth for the North London derby, which is happening at the weekend. So another week of shows, another full week of them. Wow. Deary me. Until we see you again. Sorry, I've forgotten to thank Dan. Thank you very much, sir, for coming along.
Cheers, Craig. Good therapy session, man. Enjoyed that. It's a good one, boys. Cheers, Craig.
I've got Arsenal Americas on as well. Like, don't forget.
Yes, of course. Actually, I keep forgetting that. Anyone who's watching from America or anyone's a night owl, the same old Arsenal USA every Tuesday at the wee hours of the morning. Albert, thank you very much indeed, sir.
Please, wasn't he?
What's that?
Good substitute, Albert. I think he's pushing for a regular place myself.
He's pushing.
I'll get rid of that. I'll get rid of that Harry Simeon.
No, I'm not getting rid of Harry. No. There's no way. There is no way on this earth.
All up Harry. I love Harry, really.
Yeah, I mean, I bet he threw that little toy across the room, didn't he? Like when he doing his head on as we talk, like.
I do love Harry.
Thanks to James, who's become a member. Thank you very much indeed, sir. Very much appreciated.
Welcome along.
Albert, plug your channel, mate, and a very good channel, I must say.
Thank you, Craig. I like to tackle many issues as well as football, other than football, should I say. Very forthright. But no, I appreciate the invite. Love the podcast. Dan, Lee, Craig, thanks for the opportunity, guys. Albert JTV, very easy to find on YouTube. Twitter handle at AUMO57. Come and check out the channel, people.
Thank you very much for coming on, mate, at very short notice. Judges.
Lovely. Enjoyed that. Good chat, good therapy, that, boys. Good therapy.
It is good therapy, isn't it? It is good therapy. Until tomorrow. Until we see you tomorrow. Take care of yourselves and each other. And up the Arsenal.